Welcome to another episode of Latinos Who Thrive. I am your host, Victor Escalante. We're thrilled to bring you yet another captivating episode that is sure to inspire. Joining us today is a remarkable young immigrant from Mexico on the brink of achieving millionaire status in her journey. With her insights and expertise, she's set to shed light on the path to success in the realm of real estate. So without further ado, let's dive right in and discover the strategies that can pave your way to $1 million real estate portfolio. Friends, we now have Jazmin Salinas. Jazmin, welcome to Latinos Who Thrive.
Thank you so much for having me, Victor. It's a pleasure being with you.
So tell us, Jazmin, where are you originally from?
I was born and raised in Mexico and moved here when I was 19.
Okay, that's why you have such a strong accent.
I do.
The reason that people have strong accent as adults when they learn a second or third language as adults is because their brain is wired already. It's fixated. Although there's things that you can do to overcome the strong accent of your native tongue, just embrace it. It's like a lot of Latinos come on the show. They're pretty proud of their strong accent that makes them sound unique, that makes them sound special. So I encourage everyone to accept themselves fully and completely where they are and just improve wherever they want to improve.
You're right. We just have to embrace it. One of the things that I always say, if it was because of my accent and all that, I will never speak, because, it's definitely not right all the time, but we just gotta deal with it, gotta embrace it, and just keep moving.
So, Jasmine, tell our listeners what you do for a living.
I do commercial real estate. I specialize on buying apartment buildings and help people invest their money in those assets.
When I was at the Houston Business Journal in 2009, the research that we were looking at was that there was going to be a housing crisis based upon the economic downturn. And although we are living in different times, there was going to be housing insecurity for a lot of families, and they were moving to apartment complexes. And a lot of investors back then were looking to really capitalize on that by getting into large apartment complexes and basically any kind of housing for the low income or for the middle income families that were losing their homes. Tell us, what is the current condition?
You're on the spot. Definitely, we all know that we're going through a recession, so that means less people are able to buy a house. But they also need a house to live in. They need a place to live in. So renting an apartment is an option for many people. So yeah, definitely there is that factor that is bringing so much people to apartments, and also people who are immigrating to the states, like Texas. We invest in several markets, but people from California are moving to Texas, people from New York are moving to Florida. So all those partners that are making the multifamily industry very profitable for investors right now.
Tell us, how many people are moving to from California to Houston on an annual basis? Do you have that number?
I don't
The
know.
reason I was asking you is because the number that I heard from agency that promotes Houston, I believe is Houston One or something One. They threw out the number of 100,000 families moving from California to Houston. That is a significant increase to be able to provide housing for all those families. So tell us, how did you get into this industry or this particular niche of real estate?
Sure. So I've been doing real estate for the last 4 years, but what I mean, I have run a business just buying and reselling land. and it's been a great business, but I realized that it's just like, growing your money, like getting rich quick, but I wasn't really building any wealth for the long term. And I was just like facing that phase, like, what should I do next? There are so many things that you can do in real estate. Get an Airbnb, buy a house, fix it, sell it. There's so many things that you can do. So I was just exploring all the avenues in real estate, and I came across multifamily. I attended one of the real estate summits, and everything made sense to me. I was like, okay, so you're telling me that instead of owning a house, I can own a whole building that, 100 people live in there? For sure, is that possible? I thought like that wasn't even possible. Like, I don't have that much money to buy. Most of us will think like I need like $2 million in my bank account to buy this kind of properties. But so of course, it made sense to me how quick you can scale. Instead of owning one house or two houses, you own the whole building. That the tax benefits, there's so many tax benefits as an investors that we take advantage. The number three is just like it's a hedge against inflation. Right now we are going through recession, inflation, and that's the safest place to put your money. So yeah, I just decided like, okay, this makes a lot of sense to me. This is what I want to do next, and I started connecting with all the people who were doing already multifamily, and people who I will be comfortable working with.
So let me ask you this. How did you make the leap of buying individual properties to owning multi-family apartment complexes? How did you do it?
So, okay, when you come into this industry, one is, I will say the first thing it was mindset. Having the mindset that yes, it is possible, people are doing it, I can also do it.
Let's make a quick pause because I want to really squeeze
Okay.
everything I can out of your strategy. I want to tell the listeners that you got on my radar because you were attending a Grant Cardone training in Arizona, which is high octane, high powered training for people that are in real estate investing. So, was it that mindset that you already had or you had to develop of the Grant Cardones of this world, or tell us how you did it? How did you shift your mindset to being wealthy and just attracting wealth and moving in the circles of very wealthy people?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I have so much to say here. So, of course, I always like had this mindset of I want more, or I think I want to get something else. I'm born to do more, but definitely putting myself in rooms when I'm the smallest fish, when I'm like the up and coming person. It's definitely it just changes the whole perspective. Like I've been sitting with millionaires, billionaires, people who has done 10 times what I want to do. Like you set your goals, and okay, in 5 years or in 1 year I want to accomplish this. These people did 10 times, have done 10 times what I ever imagined. And it's like, oh wow, so that definitely shifts your perspective. Like I need to, oh, it is possible. She is doing it. He is doing it. And just opens the whole perspective, the whole landscape of what is possible in the world. Like sometimes we're so close to what we know, with what we have been told by our family, but by the government. And it's just like when you put yourself in those rooms where people are 10 times ahead of you, it just changes the whole perspective, and it pushes you to dream bigger, to have bigger goals, bigger targets.
Did you ever feel you didn't belong there, suffering from the imposter syndrome?
Yes, yeah, all the time, of course, every time, I will say all the time. The only thing, like, I feel like we all have those thoughts, especially, just being Latino, the immigrant woman, he came and is trying to, find her way. Of course, I have those thoughts. And that's normal for all of us, because the reality is like we all have challenges, we all have like these insecurities. But what makes the difference is for how long you're gonna keep those thoughts. Because you can have them and identify them as like, okay, let me brush them off and continue. But if you let them sink, you're just not gonna take action because it's like, oh yeah, I don't belong here. Oh yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. Oh my gosh, like everybody here is a billionaire. What am I doing here? So if you let those thoughts sink, you're never gonna do anything.
That's correct. In our previous interview, we had a an attorney that works at the she's a Latina. She's an immigrant. She's a first gen Latina, daughter of immigrant parents from Mexico, and she works at the Tony Busby law firm, which is located like on the 75th floor of the Chase Tower building downtown. And she talks extensively and candidly about how she struggled with the imposter syndrome, even considering turning down a job at a prestigious big law firm prior to the Tony Buzz law firm because she didn't think that she was smart enough, even though she had been offered the job and she obviously qualified. She thought about not even accepting the offer. So,
Right. I can 100% believe you just because it's the mindset. It's sometimes like one of the things that I always say, for example, let's put an example like being on a podcast. Sometimes it's like, oh, what am, like I can't even speak English. Like, what am I going to be
right.
doing? But it's like, well, he knows that, the host knows that he has seen my videos, he has met me somewhere. He knows English is not my first language, and although he's still inviting me, so it's not up to me. Like I'm not deciding, and I've been on this situation so many times. With my current business partners, of course, it's like I'm the least smart, the less person with less net worth, all those things, less degrees, and all that, but they don't know that, and however they decided me to be part of equity partner of them. They see something in me, so it's not up to me. I'm not here to judge me because they know, so sometimes like we are our biggest
Enemies.
yeah, enemies.
Yes. All right. So go ahead. Tell us in the small steps you took. You changed your mindset that just made up your mind that, hey, if they can do it, I can do it too. Whatever anyone else can do, I can do it if I have the right connections, if I have the right mindset, if I have the right strategy. So, what was your strategy for getting into these circles and being at the table?
Yeah, so once I decided this is what I want to do, I start connecting with all the people who were doing it and asking them like, how do you start it? And I was looking to partner up with the right people because I also knew my strengths and my weaknesses. And for example, buying a whole apartment building, it requires so much, like a lot of data analytics, underwriting. There's so much behind just building a single house, right? So I knew I couldn't do it by myself, and I started to when I started connecting, I was like, okay, how am I gonna do it? Because clearly half, half of the things that I require to buy apartments, I don't have. The number side of my brain, the network, the balance sheet, the loan needs to make sure you're gonna be able to afford a $50 million property. How am I gonna do that? So what I did is like I'm gonna start where I am with what I have. My background is in sales, so and I had a job, a W-2 job working for the real estate investment firm. So like my job was to connect with investors, and that's what I did. I connected with these guys, and I told them this is my background. I think this is how I can add value to you. I can do investor relations, and I pretty much told them how I could add value to them, raising capital. When I went to these events, I realized like, oh, who doesn't need money for the deals? Everybody needs money to buy these apartments. So I was like, if I can raise money, it kind of translates to sales, like bringing investors to put their money. That is gonna open the door for me to work with anybody. So to answer your question is just like I just started with what I had where I was.
Okay. The next question, you don't have to answer it because it may be a question that you may have to kill me if you answered it. But where did you find these investors? Or were they already part of your social circle, having worked for another company that's exactly what you were doing, was moving in the high powered investor circle that you could basically just redirect the partners or the investors to the new venture?
It's, that's a great question because so many people will see like, oh, that's a whole nother world. Like I can't even tap into that world. But once I set up my mind, this is another part. Like once I set up my mind that this is what I'm gonna do next, I started attending to all the events, start showing up everywhere, all the events in the industry. It's just like if you are in dance or if you're in cooking, you start building the community and events that everybody does that, right? So it's the same thing here. Investors are there is events going everywhere all the time. So you start showing up and connecting with all these investors as business partners and people who want to put their money. Most people don't know about that they can also invest their money or their retirement account in this kind of investments. So just telling people what I do, you never know. You never know who you're talking to.
So I can imagine that you branded yourself being at all these events, and people got to know you and people got to trust you and people got to like you to start doing business with you, to start putting deals together. Is that the short end of it?
Yes, for sure. People make business with people that they like and trust. And
Yes.
if you show up in one event, yeah, they will see you. But if they see you over and over and over again, and they don't see you, but you're on social media and they see you again, and also, of course, that's what I was. It was so important for me to partner with the right people, somebody who I can leverage. Because yeah, she's everywhere. She's moving and shaking. But if you don't have the right team, a strong team who is backing you up on all these deals. I mean, at the end, it's numbers, and at the end, investors want to make sure their returns are gonna, we're gonna meet their returns. So it's just like that's what I'm saying. Like this is how I added value to them. Like I'm gonna be the face. I'm gonna put myself out there, bring investors, and these guys are the brains, and that's how we complement it.
You're listening to another episode of Latinos Who Thrive with special guest Jazmin Salinas, real estate investor. We'll be right back. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Do you want to stand out from the crowd and make a lasting impression? Then look no further. Introducing the ultimate game changer, the Escalante Public Speaking Mastery Course. In today's competitive world, effective communication is the key to success. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, the ability to speak confidently and persuasively is a game changer. I know, because I have lived through it. That's why the Public Speaking Mastery Course is here to unlock your full potential. The comprehensive course is designed to transform your public speaking skills from good to extraordinary. I will be guiding you through a step-by-step process, helping you overcome stage fright, craft compelling messages, and deliver impactful presentations. When I took the Dale Carnegie School of Public Speaking and Human Relations, it changed my life, and I will be able to help you do the same. My career in journalism and training and development was built on having the skills to be able to communicate to a team or thousands. I hold nothing back. I will give you all my trade secrets and how you can thrive and crush it. Imagine walking into a boardroom and captivating your audience with your powerful presence. Picture yourself confidently leading meetings, delivering persuasive pitches, and commanding attention in every interaction. With a public speaking mastery course, you'll be equipped with the skills to excel in any professional situation. If you're ready to take the step and supercharge your career, enroll in the public speaking mastery course today. All the information and the cost is in the show notes. Don't let fear hold you back. Unlock your potential, elevate your career, and become a master of public speaking. Go to the show notes to register today to secure your spot in the next session of Public Speaking Mastery Course. Public Speaking Mastery Course, empowering professionals, transforming careers. Act now and make a lasting impression in every opportunity that comes your way. You will be glad you did, and you will thrive for the rest of your life. We now return you to Latino Sutra with special guest Jazmin Salinas. Which reminds me of that saying that you need to be so good that they cannot ignore you.
Right.
And
Right.
basically you are that kind of person that would not be ignored because you're everywhere. And you got value coming out of your pores because you have investors and you have capital to bring to the table.
Yes. Thank you.
You leverage your network,
Yeah,
which
we can
which
leverage.
I'm sure is worth a lot of money. Your network, your social network. We have three kinds of capital: hard currency capital, social capital, which you were very rich in because of attending all these events, and the intellectual capital to know how to put together deals. And if you didn't know how to put them, you found someone that could teach you how to put together deals.
Exactly. And most people will think, oh, I gotta wait, like I need to learn everything and I need to be okay on every single aspect. The reality is like you're never gonna be ready. And that's what I decided. Like if I wait until I can understand everything and have the net worth and be ready to buy this kind of assets, it's gonna take me 200 years. So it's like I gotta start where I am.
Tell us, at the end of the year, what is your projected net worth going to be? And if you don't
This
want to
year.
answer that, yeah, if you don't want to answer that, that's okay.
No, yeah, this year I'm gonna be a millionaire. Officially, my net worth is gonna be 1 million.
Congratulations. Tell us how you are, how old you are, Jasmine.
I'm 29. Well,
Okay.
in November I'm gonna be 30. So yeah,
Okay. 30-year-old Latina from Mexico with a net worth of $1 million by year's end. It sounds easy, and it is if you put the grit into what you do, and if you follow the right strategy, and if you're in the right, if you move in the right circles. But was it that easy? What were the obstacles that you had to overcome?
everything, just from coming to this country, not speaking the language, not having papers, starting from scratch. Like my first job was the fast food restaurant. Getting my degree. It was just like everything, being alone, being lonely, being heartbroken, being just like pretty much like devastated inside and pretty much pick up myself and start all over again. I mean, that was a lot.
As a little girl, did you have big dreams?
Yes.
What were your big dreams?
I always wanted to own my own company. I always have this entrepreneur side in me. My first official business, I launched it when I was 15. I founded my first business. I believe growing up a little girl, I remember like selling Barbie clothes at the school, and I always wanted to have my own business. I wasn't sure what, but I always had that dream.
Do you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Because generally, entrepreneurship is learned early, like you, at home, because you get encouragement from parents. Do you come from entrepreneurial parents?
Yes, my dad is an entrepreneur, and pretty much I had my mentor at home, which was
That
great.
that's great. Now, what advice would you give to other Latinas that are listening to this interview As far if they want to be a millionaire, what advice would you give them that you have learned firsthand from experience that you have paid a lot of money and a lot of sweat equity in acquiring that experience? What advice would you give others?
Bet on yourself. If you want to do something, if you have a dream, God gave you that dream because of a reason. So you just need to bet on yourself, have the mindset to pursue whatever those goals are.
So you're talking about personal development. Develop your mindset. Okay. So
That's the first investment that we all should do. Invest
how
in ourselves.
how did you do it? What books did you read? What trainings did you attend?
So I have, well, I attend to a lot of the Grand Cardone summits events. That's where you saw me, just because it just had changed completely my mindset. Um, I read a lot. I listen
Now,
to a lot of podcasts.
Grant Cardone's programs are not cheap. Tell us, how much did you pay to attend that Arizona summit?
For the Arizona wasn't much. I was 1,000.
Okay, so 1,000 plus travel expenses. That's cheap considering the knowledge that you got, correct?
Yes.
Have you already been able to leverage that knowledge and get a return on investment? That whatever you invested in that trip, have you already made it back and many times over?
Oh yeah, on every event that I go, not just Grand Cardone, but any event, like at least I walk out with one investor, at least one people who at one point if it's not on the spot, because most of the time it's not like people are gonna be like, yeah, here is my money invested in this deal, but I always walk out with contacts and at least one investor. And yeah, I mean this trip was very cheap, but I'm also part of several masterminds. For the real estate club, you pay 25,000 to be part of it. For other one that I pay 15,000, so it's just a lot of investment in myself. But at the same thing, like if you don't spend the money on investing in yourself, on acquiring skill sets that are valuable for the marketplace, you're not going to be add value to high caliber guys. If I wasn't in that position adding value to these guys, I mean, what would they have me?
Exactly. So you invested in developing the intellectual capital and expanding your social capital to seek out investors. I remember talking to a billionaire in a training that I attended years ago, and he said, "Victor, I attend a lot of these events, not necessarily thinking that I'm going to have a return on investment right away." He says, "I just want to know what's the newest thing out there." In other words, he always wants to be at the forefront of what's the latest new thing out there that I should get involved in. And I thought that was very interesting because, again, unless you attend events in person, people are not going to share with you the information that you need to know because you haven't paid the price. You don't have any sweat equity in the information. So, why should people give it away to you unless there is some reciprocity to be able to provide value, as you have emphasized? It's like, what value can I give you, or what value can I bring to the table to do business together?
You're right. You're right. Absolutely right. And it's just investing in yourself. Like if you don't invest in yourself, what makes you think that somebody else gonna invest in yourself?
Exactly, exactly. So tell us, what authors have you read that have had the biggest impact on you, since you're a constant reader?
Uh, One of the last ones that I impacted me a lot is "The Power of One More" by Ed Milet. He just talks about how important it is to show up one more time. Do you think I want to show up to these events all the time and go talk to everybody? No, it's totally out of my comfort zone. But let me go talk to one more person. Let me make one more call. If I'm at the gym, let me do one more rep. And it's just like the compound effect. Like
Yes.
now you can be like, oh yeah, she's a millionaire, she's 30 years old, wow. But it's been 10 years, 10 years starting
Yes.
from scratch. And right now it's like probably you can see a little bit of success in me, but it's been 10 years like sweating, crying, like doing it one more time. And that's, I'm such a believer on the compound effect.
Yes. Your comment takes me to years back when I worked in sales and it was Christmas Day and I could have gone home, but I decided again, I got to make that one more call. It turned into a $30,000 sale and a big commission. Because again, people who have that mindset, they may not feel like it, but they're going to push themselves to make that other call, to send out that other email, to make that other post on social media. And talk to us about the effect of compounding net results.
To me, it's just like the little decisions that you make every day is what it. So, actually, Ed Milet has a great analogy, and for Latinos, this is gonna be great because we all gonna understand. He talks about the analogy of the piñata, right? Like when little kids have a birthday party, they have a piñata, and then all the little kids go and hit the piñata, and it's like one kid, two kids, it's like 10 kids, and the piñata still there, doesn't break. And then finally, the little kid, the last kid comes and hits the piñata, and all the candy come out.
I love
And
it.
everybody's super happy picking up the candy. And Irma laid asked his wife, what broke the piñata? That little tiny kid or all the kids? And she said, all the kids. And he said, exactly. That's how life is. You don't break the piñata with one hit. It's the compound of hitting over and over again until it breaks. So it's the little decisions that we make every day that are gonna move us forward to achieve our dreams or our goals.
Absolutely. I love your analogy because I had heard another version of the stonemason that hits a stone 100 times, and on the 100th time it cracks. And it was all the ones that came before that that mattered. It wasn't just that one hit that you hit the stone and it splits. So I'm going to steal your analogy for persistency and something that people can relate, because how many people can relate to being a stonecutter?
Exactly.
But everyone relates to being a piñata hitter.
Yes.
Tell us, Jasmine, what have been the absolute hardest challenges that you have faced up to now?
I guess just coming and just the immigration process, for immigrants takes so long. And at one point I felt like they are like they have me with my hands tied up, like they are cutting my wings. Like I knew I was born to do something with my life. I knew I could add more to the marketplace, that I have some sort of skill set, but just like not being able to work, it was like a lot,
Are you a DACA recipient? Are you a
No,
DACA recipient? No?
I'm not. I couldn't qualify for that, so you
Did
know
you end up marrying a citizen?
no, I
No?
haven't get married. I
No.
didn't want to take the shortcut. That's another thing about me. Is like I mean, my
I
values,
understand.
my
I understand.
principles.
What advice would you give to that little girl that had big dreams when you were a little girl growing up in Mexico, selling Barbie doll clothes? Since Barbie is such in fashion right now,
Yes,
what advice would you give that younger Jasmine?
everything is gonna be okay. Just don't give up. Believe in yourself. Keep going. It's not gonna be easy, but you're gonna make it.
Do you mentor other Latinas that may be struggling?
No,
No?
would love to. No.
Do you have any kind of philanthropy endeavors that you're involved in to give back to the community or to other Latinos?
I funded a group of women. And this is not just for Latino, for it's mainly for women who are looking to create wealth, invest, but also grow in every single aspect of their lives, like personally, professionally, spiritually. So I have that community where I gather all these women, we have talks and all that, and that's what I do.
Why don't you go ahead and give us the name of that group? And I'll put the information in the show notes.
Sure, the group is called and is she builds, she owns, she invests. She's me and she's you.
I love
So
it.
yeah, all the ladies who are looking to invest and grow in every single aspect. It's a great community to be part. It's totally free. I don't make any money out of that. It's just like having, the purpose is to help, support, and inspire each other in this journey.
Why did you do that, Jasmine?
Just to give back to me, just like you said, I attend to all these events. I have these great mentors, business partners, and that is like part of my daily life. But for the reality is, for most of the people out there, they don't have access to all that. So it's just me opening the door to me, to my co-founders, and to all our network. All our people that we meet at these events, we bring them to speak, to share their knowledge that can help us and fast track our goals. So we always look for investors who are, I mean, for the speakers who are like 10 times ahead of us. So all of us can benefit from it.
What has surprised you the most in forming this group?
How much impact we have made in the ladies?
How big
Sometimes
is the group?
I mean, we have 50 women who show up every call, and then on the Facebook group, if you look up us on Facebook, we have a group. It's like 300 women.
Okay, that's
So
awesome.
I just started that like 3 months ago. So it's been growing so much. But just responding to your question, like when I go to these events, so many women come up to me and say, "Thank you so much for sharing. I love what you're doing. I love your talk. When you spoke about this and that, it hit me. It just like you impacted me. So that's been amazing. You never know who you're impacting."
That is awesome. Absolutely. Any final words, Jasmine?
No, just if I can just leave you with one piece of advice is always put God first. He will open the doors. It doesn't matter your immigration status, your network, your challenges, your barriers, like he will make it happen.
Well, we appreciate that. And we got to have you back because we got to follow your trajectory and have you back after you made your first million and the next one so that you can share with us how it gets easier as you move forward. Because again, you have the three capitals: the social, the intellectual, and the hard currency to control your own destiny.
Thank you so much, Victor. So many people say like the first million is the hardest, and I can tell
Yes.
yeah, it's been 10 years, grinding. 100%. So yeah, hopefully everything gets easier after this.
Yes, we're going to have to leave it there. Until next time, my friends, go out and thrive.